Um, yes, last Tuesday we had a recollection night, and you guys had mentioned something that, at one point you guys had gone around and shared something about yourselves. So today I'm going to take the time and share something about myself that you guys may not know about me. Something that you may not know about me is that I often wonder who comes up with things. And it's not profound things like who came up with the periodic table, which I looked up, by the way. It was some Russian scientist, chemist, Dmitri. But I'm a simple guy, as you may know already. So I wonder simple things. I wonder things like, who was the first person to do jump rope? Who was the first people to play hide and seek? And who was the first person to give a wet willy? If you guys don't know what a wet willy is when you put saliva on your finger and then you go to someone's ear and you go like that. That's what a wet willy is. So of course, in today's gospel, I may have found the answer to that one. So I traced it back to Jesus. Believe it or not, just my mind going all over the place. I couldn't help myself to wonder what if the translation got it a little mixed up. Like when you translate English to Spanish, you don't go word by word. Like you don't say Francisco's house, you say La Casa de Francisco. So it's backwards, you do like a little switch. If you say Francisco's casa, to a Spanish person, that won't make much sense. So this brings me to the question of spitting, why God spits on his finger, on the dead man's ear. That would make sense, to me that would make sense if Jesus' saliva had, some healing properties, that then he would need to, spit on his finger, or spit on something, that would make a lot of sense. And then he touched the man's tongue. That also, it was kind of like, touching someone's tongue, Back in those days, they didn't have toothpaste. I wouldn't want to, I was like, And then, but that's all I'm going to say about that part. But then I also like the part where it says, Jesus looked up to heaven and groaned. I have to say, I enjoy groans, especially the ones that come from Paul. When someone is up here preaching, or giving good recollection, you hear those, I love it. I really enjoy those. And I have to admit, we have some great preachers in our house. And many times I want to do that. I want to go, I even told Paul that yesterday. I was like, I wanted to give you a few of those yesterday, when you were giving your recollection. So, but you know what? At the end of the day, none of that matters. Just like Cola said, I think this was probably meant to draw something from us, so that we can dig deeper. So just yesterday we heard, that Jesus removed an evil spirit from the Greek woman's daughter who was not there. So we read later on that when the woman got home, she found out that her daughter was healed. So I can safely say that we know that Jesus didn't have to do any of those things. So maybe he was trying to show us something. And how I took it, my interpretation was that maybe he's trying to tell us that we need to get our hands dirty, and reach out to the poor, to the marginalized, to the oppressed, to the lonely, to the immigrant, to the sick, to those who have disabilities, the ones without faith, and many more that are in need of Christ in the world. I believe in the power of prayer, but as Franciscans, we're also called to be active and reach out to those in need. I like the phrase we have in some of our sweaters, brothers for others. That's really, I think it's very nice. It speaks to me because that's what we're called to be. We're meant to be brothers to others in the world. In this passage, We have Jesus taking the man off by himself, away from the crowd. It says that it's something we're called to do, to take people away from a world that's always putting me first. It's all, a lot of times in the world, it's all about me, what big of a job can I get, my house gotta be bigger than my neighbors. It's all about me. A materialistic world. It's a world that has a lot of hate, unfortunately. A world that is lacking mercy and understanding. A world that lacks love, especially love for others, just because they don't share the same culture as ours, our beliefs, our language, or our skin color. Jesus said to this man, Ephah, which that is translated to be open. And immediately the man's ears were opened. His speech impediment was removed, and he spoke plainly. I sort of saw the deaf man representing all the people in the world that don't believe in God, or don't have the knowledge of God, or have their hearts closed to God. And I can relate to that a lot, because for many years that was me. God was always there, but my heart was closed to God. My mind, my ears were closed to the Word. The speech impediment, I see it as all the noise in the world. That it's so many noises around the world, but at the end of the day, they don't really make any sense. You have, the noises, that you hear in the world, that noise that's speaking of hate, intolerance, racism, inequality. All that just doesn't make any sense. Hate is never the answer. You can't want the good for just selected group of people. That's not really love. And a lot of people hide good deeds by just doing good to a very selected few. We're Catholics. We're called to be universal for the whole world. I consider myself, I'm thankful now that Jesus has opened my ears, my heart, and I've allowed him, to be in me, even though I push him away a lot of times. And we know about his love for everyone in the world. So now we can speak and proclaim the gospel, and we're called to bring a message of mercy and understanding, a message of forgiveness, and above all, a message of love. I believe this is a stronger calling for us Franciscans, because our charism puts a lot of emphasis on working with the poor, prayer, and fraternity. So brothers, I think we're challenged to live the gospel life and to bring it out into the world.